Hello, I'm Dr. George Cressman, and I'm the historian here at the Camp Landing Museum. I'd like to welcome you to another Camp Landing Museum history video. Today I'm going to be talking about African Americans who served here at Camp Landing during the war.
We're glad to welcome you here today and into the United States Army.
So, as you might know, during the war, all armed forces of the United States were strictly segregated. So African Americans came to Camp Landing as part of units that trained here, but they were also a significant portion of the station complement. The 45th Engineer General Service Regiment was activated at Camp Landing on the 15th of July, 1941. The 45th Engineer General Service Regiment left Camp Landing to serve in the Carolina maneuvers from October through December of 1941. The 45th then deployed to the Charleston, South Carolina, port of embarkation on the 26th of May, 1942. And after transiting through Sierra Leone and South Africa, the 45th landed at Karachi, India, in late July 1942, where the men of the unit participated in trucking activities. The 45th then moved on to Lido, India, in December of 1942, where they participated in the construction of the Lido Road. The Lido Road stretched 271 miles from Lido, India, into Burma. The road was critical for resupply of Allied units fighting in Burma. The road ran through previously unsurveyed mountain and jungle areas. The road area was not free of combat. Proximity to the front created problems. For example, on the 1st of April, 1943, the 45th stopped work on the road to man defensive positions. Japanese patrols were active in the area. When the 271-mile Lido Road was completed, the road became an essential supply route, and goods moved across it for the entire war. The 97th Engineer General Service Regiment was activated at Camp Landing on the 1st of June, 1941. The unit moved to Eglin Field, where it was redesignated the 97th Engineer Regiment. It was deployed to Valdez, Alaska in April of 1942, where it built a pioneer road and a section of the Alcan Highway. The unit went back to Seattle in September of 1943 and then moved on to New Guinea in March of 1944. After serving in New Guinea, the unit moved on to the Philippines in April of 1946 and then returned to the U.S. The unit was instrumental in building the Alcan, the Alaska-Canadian Highway. And that highway was built for defense transport between the lower 48 states and the then territory of Alaska. 3 of the regiments that were assigned to construction of the Alcan Highway were African American units. On 25 October 1942, the 97th Engineer Regiment and the 18th Engineers linked, completing the Alcan Highway. When complete, the Alcan Highway stretched 1,422 miles from Dawson Creek, British Columbia, in Canada, to Big Delta, Alaska. While the 97th was in Alaska, it served other duties. The unit operated terminals for the Fairbanks Freight, the truck supply line for the road construction. And one company was responsible for glacier control, that is, chopping glaciers off of the road during the winter. The 57th Ordnance Ammunition Company was activated at the Savannah Ordnance Depot in Illinois on the 6th of February, 1941. 57th moved to Camp Landing in June of 1941 and then participated in the Carolina maneuvers in late 1941. The unit deployed to England in November of 1943 and operated in England until June of 1944. The 57th arrived in France on the 12th of June, 1944, 6 days after D-Day, and they were attached to the 100th Ordnance Battalion. The unit followed the advancing Allies, establishing ammunition supply points in multiple locations. On the 4th of September, 1944, the 57th had a firefight with German troops near Draincourt, France. Recall, this is not a combat unit. Between 40 and 50 enemy troops were killed, and about 15 captured. The 57th Ordnance Ammunition Company continued to move with the Allied lines through Belgium. And on 17 December 1944, the 57th ammunition supply point was near Waymes, Belgium, and it was threatened by the German advance in the Battle of the Bulge. While fighting the Germans in one part of the building housing the ammunition supply point, men of the 57th went to another section of that building and began destroying ammunition that the Germans could easily use. They were able to salvage and evacuate other ammunition that were more essential for the U.S. troops. The 57th Ordnance Ammunition Company continued to supply ammunition through the winter and the spring of 1945, moving through multiple locations in Germany. And the 57th remained in Germany until December of 1946, doing general logistics work. The 94th Quartermaster Railhead Company was activated at Camp Landing in June of 1941. And like other African American units, they participated in the Carolina maneuvers and then came back to Camp Landing. In April of 1942, the unit moved to the Desert Training Center, the California-Arizona maneuvers area. Following their time at the Desert Training Center, the 94th moved to Fort A.P. Hill in Virginia in September of 1942, and then moved to Camp Sutton for overseas movement preparation. The 94th departed the U.S. on the 7th of February 1943 aboard the SS Brazil, shipping to North Africa. The unit provided logistics services in North Africa, then in Italy, where it came ashore on the Anzio beachhead. In November of 1944, the unit moved to France, where it continued to provide logistics services. In addition, the 94th earned battle credits for the amphibious landings they made in both Italy on the Anzio beachhead and southern France. It's important to recognize that African American units that trained at Camp Landing were a critical part of the Allied victory in World War II, but there were also many additional African African American units, and men who both trained at Camp Landing and served here at Camp Landing. Those who were serving here in the station complement kept the post operating during the war. Well, thank you for watching this Camp Landing Museum history video. I'd like to invite you to do two things. First, I'd like to invite you to come visit us at the Camp Landing Museum. We're open every day from noon to 4. Secondly, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to the Camp Landing Museum channel here on YouTube. Join us and look at the other history videos that we've provided. For Camp Landing Museum staff and our terrific volunteers, this is Dr. George Cressman signing off.